So the next one is going to be tangent. I didn't explain cosine because cosine is pretty much the same as sine, but maybe tangent you guys will have some problem with, so I did tangent. And then cotangent will be the same, similar to tangent. So on this one, the graph is kind of weird. Okay, so when you look at the degrees over here, so here's tangent, 0, 0, and then you get, but then you get over here, you get 90 degrees as undefined, and to 70 degrees, or 3 pi over 2 as undefined also, because because tangent is y over x. So when x down here equals to 0, this means it's undefined. You can't have 0 in the denominator, right? So right here, when tangent is undefined, y over x, so cosine is at the bottom, it's 0. So then that makes tangent undefined right here, and again down here when cosine is 0. So that's why at 90 degrees there's an asymptote. It means it can't cross it. It's undefined. And this repeats every pi. Yeah, every pi. It's also signals for the period. The period also happens every pi. So there's one right here, one right here, and repeats itself, on and on. Y-intercept is at 0, 0. Range, now the range is all reals. Okay, and then on these, you have to write what the asymptote is. So remember, we like positive values instead of negative one. So instead of using negative pi over 2, we use pi over 2. And then that's going to repeat, so it's at pi over 2. And it's going to repeat every pi k. K just means it repeats. Okay, so here's pi over 2. And then it happens again at 3 pi over 2. So that's plus 1 pi. Alright, so it happens every pi. Every 1 pi, and then so on. Okay, and then this is x-intercepts. Again, you have x-intercepts right here, right here, right here, and it repeats. This is negative 2 pi, right? Okay, negative 2 pi, and this one is at negative pi. That means there's 1 pi in between. So it happens at every pi k, comma 0. Alright, domain this is the form that we write in pre-cal. That's not really known to y'all. Okay, so but you have to try to know how to use it. Okay, so this is for every x, for all the x values, x cannot equal to pi over 2 plus pi k. So what we did here for the domain is that like, instead of writing like okay, so you usually write it like this, like negative 2 equals 0, and then union 0, 2, and then union, so on, so on. Instead of us writing it like that, because we're gonna have to keep writing union, 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 and so on, because it continues on forever. So instead of writing it like this, like interval notation wise, we write it like this, what it cannot equal to. So it can't equal to, since we like positive values, so it cannot equal to right here, asymptotes right here, the domain, right, all the x values, so it can't equal to pi over 2, or all the pi k's after that, right? So pi over 2 plus pi plus another pi, that's where all the asymptotes is, so that those cannot be in the domain. That's why we write x cannot equal to pi over 2 plus pi k. Yeah, that's basically it. So it's the same for tangent, except now the graph's been shifted one to the right or one to the left, however you want to think it, but the asymptote now is in the middle. So zeros at 0, 0, it's undefined right here. It has no y-intercept, none. And besides that, everything else is the same. Oh, for the things like odd and even, I'll explain that in another video somehow. Okay,